Have you ever wondered how some people find happiness no matter what life throws at them? This is the old woman's story who discovered the secret to happiness in every situation. In a quiet village between green hills and flowing rivers, there lived an old woman named Eleanor. She was not known for her wealth or status, but for something far more valuable, her unshakable happiness. No matter what happened, she always had a smile on her face. One day, a young wanderer named Daniel entered the village. He had wandered for years looking for answers. Life had been cruel to him. He lost his parents at a young age, found himself without a purpose, and carried around regret and worry. So when he heard about Eleanor, he was intrigued. How is it possible for someone to be happy in everything? Determined to know the answer, Daniel walked to the old woman as she sat on her wooden bench outside her small cottage. Daniel, people say you are always happy. But how is that possible? Life is full of pain and loss. Eleanor smiled softly and patted the empty space beside her, motioning for him to sit down. Eleanor, ah, young man, happiness is not found in what happens to us. It is found in how we choose to see things. Daniel frowned. That sounds like something wise people say, but how can I choose happiness when life is cruel? The old woman smiled and pointed toward a tree. Do you see that tree over there? Daniel nodded. Eleanor, during summer months it stands firm, green, and big. During fall time its golden leaves upon the ground can lie. Within winter time the tree's stark nude against icy breath, so the tree complains, not even if… Daniel thought some moments. No, yet doesn't go feeling sad, else or jealous. Eleanor nodded. True, but nature teaches us something important. The tree accepts every season. It does not resist change. It embraces it. People suffer because they resist what life brings. If you can learn to embrace every season of your life, you will find peace. Daniel sighed, but I have lost so much. I feel like happiness is impossible for me. Eleanor picked up a small clay cup filled with water and handed it to him. Eleanor, hold this cup and tell me, how heavy is it? Daniel lifted it easily. Not heavy at all. She smiled. Now hold it in your hand and keep your arm stretched out. Daniel did as she asked. Minutes passed. His arm started to feel sore. Eleanor waited even longer. His arm shook. The cup, once light, became heavy to carry. At last, Eleanor took the cup from him. You see, my dear, pain, sorrow, and regret are such as this cup. If one holds them long enough, one gets crushed beneath the weight of it. But when one can lay them down even for an instant, the life becomes less cumbersome. Daniel looked down at his hand, now unencumbered by the weight, and nodded slowly. But how do I put it down? The old woman's eyes twinkled. By living in the present. Most people live in the past, clinging to what they've lost, or in the future, fearing what might come. But happiness is only found in the present. Daniel took a deep breath. He had spent years in regrets, in pain, in fears of tomorrow. But sitting here beside Eleanor with the soft breeze caressing his skin and the warmth of the sun on his face, he felt at peace. Continuing, Eleanor said, happiness is not about avoiding sadness. It is all about accepting that both joy and sorrow come under the auspices of life. The more you resist pain, the more it controls you. When you embrace it, however, you lose its hold over you. Daniel thought about his losses, his struggles. He had fought so hard against them, maybe that was the problem. Maybe it wasn't about clearing up happiness, but just making peace with sadness. He looked at the old woman and asked, have you ever been sad? Eleanor's expression softened. Oh yes, many times. I've lost loved people. I knew hunger, loneliness, and even fear. Yet I learned that no moment remains forever. Good times come, and so do bad. Fear one, clutch at the other, and you are not really free. Daniel sat silently as he listened. For the first time in so long, hope felt odd yet real. As the sun began to set, Eleanor stood up and dusted off her old dress. Happiness, my dear, is not something you find. It is something you create, and the secret to happiness in every situation. She smiled. Gratitude. No matter how dark life seems, if you can find one small thing to be grateful for, happiness will always follow. Daniel looked around. The orange and pink-painted sky, the cool breeze, the distant laughter of children playing. For the first time in years, he felt that weight in his heart lift. He turned to Eleanor and said, "Thanks. For the first time, I understand." And with that, she walked back to her small cottage, leaving Daniel with a heart lighter than it had ever been before. Eleanor simply nodded and whispered, "Remember, happiness is always within you. You just have to choose it."